What's up, everyone? It's Nathan Modern from Modern Games, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to optimize your MetaQuest game today. Let's jump right into it. I hope you've been testing and checking out my last tutorials. I hope you're here from that. What we're going to be doing is testing, running, and building, optimizing. So I've gone ahead and I've clicked the play button, and when you click the play button, you'll probably get there'll be a loading screen if you're building in VR, and then you'll get a loadout. If you want to test the game with your headset, you first want to launch Steam VR and have that setup loaded. You can do MetaQuest VR, but I just suggest doing Steam VR because it just functions a little bit better. But it's really up to you. So you just want to make sure you start whichever one you're using first and then hitting the play button, and it will load into your MetaQuest headset. That's very vital. So when you hit the game scene, it'll pop up this window. You can go ahead and hit stats on the top right. Stats on the top right will show you the different aspects of the scene, including your frames, CPU, GPU usage, triangles, set pass call, batches. So a little rule of thumb for MetaQuest is you want to keep this under 100. Rule of thumb is 100 for MetaQuest. Batches under 100, triangles under 100. Okay, set pass calls under 100. If that's all under 100, you're going to get 150 frames. If you just keep it as simple as that, you're going to be happy. Okay, so you're going to be adding 3D objects to your scene, seeing how everything works. You want to debug and go through different things and see how it affects the scene. So I'm going to go ahead and stop that. So we're going to jump into the settings. So if you're here, you might be having a problem with something. So we have to figure out what that problem is. So using the stats section, or maybe you don't have a problem and you just want to optimize your thing. So you go to the stats section and you see what your camera is seeing, and that camera is on this XR origin, right? So you can see this pyramid is what you're seeing outside, and you can adjust that accordingly. So we're going to go through a few things really quickly. Try and keep up. You can go back and pause the video, but we're gonna go through a few things. So get your pen and paper and just be prepared. So first, project. What I like to do is I like to go down in this bottom right corner. I like to drag this all the way to the left. Okay, so that way I can see my folders and it's not giant icons. So settings is where we want to go in the project side. Let's go project configuration. We have different configurations, okay? And this URP configuration is specific to Universal Render Pipeline, which is standard for these templates, and that's what I use. So if you're using a Universal Render Pipeline and these sample templates, you're going to see in the settings, performance, URP config, and let's go and edit some of these things. This is essentially what your camera is visualizing. So if you go in game and you turn off the cast shadows, let's disable even the lighting, you can do that just to see how it is. Not that it's necessary, but you can play around and see what you need, what you don't need. I like to go 16 on the LUT size, and max distance 2.5 is fine. And that will increase your frames. If we go into quality, you can do 2x or you can do disabled. It's really up to you, but I've gotten negative reviews from doing disabled. People don't like not smooth edges around your pixels. That's the best way I can put it. So if we reduce the lighting, if we take away the lighting, take away the shadows, then we're taking the information that's sent to the headset, right? That's one way that you can troubleshoot. Now, lighting could be complicated, and that's a whole nother video, but this is just a way to go into your quality settings, turn off some settings. You can there's some new settings that we can jump into that's specific to Unity 6, and if this thing loads, and that will be able to increase your frames rate, reduce your set pass calls, reduce your batches, because it's not being loaded, right? Now, if you're making a horror game, you might need shadows, and you might need to think about how you're going to implement these types of things. But if it's not necessary, then like in this scene, I have 67 triangles now consistently. There's no shadows that are being rendered or like going in and out. So we're going to have a more consistent time, right? More consistent frame rate. Rule of thumb, don't really use shadows when you're starting out. Now, another optimization tool that we have given by the all-in-one that we just downloaded in the previous tutorial, we can go Meta, Tools, and OVR Performance Lint. Okay, this is a tool that's given in this platform that will allow you to one button fix most issues that might come into play. So audio preload. So for fast loading, please don't preload audio data. So little things like this you can adjust and one click fix, see shadow types, and try and remember these things when you're moving forward. Some of them are like this clear skybox. I don't really like using that one because it'll get rid of the skybox completely. It'll turn like black. It's a weird thing. But if you're in a room where you don't see the sky, you don't need it. So why would you need there's little things like that where you have to think of your situation. See this minimum Android API. I would not set this to 29 because it just breaks things sometimes. I don't know why. I just go with 28 and it's fine. Just leave it alone. So we can one click fix a lot of these little back end audio, lighting, camera issues, and that will contribute to optimizing our Quest game. Another thing I like to do is going on the camera and we gauge what our scene is and what we want to give to our player. So this camera can see 1,000 meters forward. The measurement in Unity is in meters, right? So why do we need to see 1,000 meters if all we can see is 10 feet in front of us? So it's not necessary to even process certain data. So you can see how adjusting this camera range changes the triangles, right? So say I only wanted a person to see this far in front of them. I can do that, go in environment, and let's turn on this fog, and let's turn on the density, but let's make the fog match this. You see? Now we're in this sort of like we want to match it right on this corner here, and now we're kind of manipulating the world to have a fog. You could use linear. Sometimes it works a little bit better. Let's put this at 2 meters, and you can experiment. Linear will use less, and boom, you see now you're in this like fog world and you're using less triangles. You can do manipulations to make less triangles, and not every game is going to be a Silent Hill game or have fog, right? It's kind of a cheap trick used it's like from 2000. It's from even earlier than 2000. Is used in Silent Hill 1. So that's some little tricks that will get you reducing your triangles. You know, you can you want to use clever manipulations to reduce the set Pascals, bring everything down to 100. Now there's some more complex tutorials that you could find out there about reducing 3D objects and their triangle count. Like it's called decimation. You could decimate the and reduce the size. There's also something called LODs. So let's quickly go over LOD optimization. So I'm gonna click this right here, this triangle down here, and let's go in our inspector and add an LOD group. If you type LOD, it will pop up there. So here's a really quick optimization trick I like to do that's pretty known. So LOD groups, you make an LOD group, you drag and drop your LOD, your 3D object to LOD 0. You delete the other ones, right click, delete, and you can see that the closer you get, what this range does is that it turns on and off things as you get closer to them. Okay, and I like to add a animation. So the animation you'll see in the game when you're in play mode, but when if you're pairing this with the camera view distance, okay, so you can calculate it. If you're seeing only 5 meters out or 10 meters out, then I would cull things at 10 meters out, and that percentage of distance to the camera, right? So you can literally calculate optimization, okay? And that's just a little quick trick on how to reduce your set Pascals, increase your frame rate, and hopefully make your game better. All right, I shall see you in the next one. If you haven't downloaded Invictus or Haunt and Seek, check them out on the MetaQuest store or Steam. Until next time, peace.